Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today it is time to once again look at the suggestions which were passed to the developers. This time we're having a look at November 2020, and after having a look at the ground and the aviation portion, it's time to have a look at some of the mechanics which were suggested to the developers. So we'll start off with a few maps, and the first one is from Darth Gurgley, and he's talking about an Operation Spring Awakening map, and this was actually made by Boris the Blade, who is a guy who's made a ton of maps for War Thunder, and I've got to say they are some of the most beautiful maps that I've ever seen. I'll probably take some time to actually go around this map to show you it. It is very large, it is very expansive, it has pretty much everything you would want when it comes to a large map. A lot of people who are fans of stuff like Tank EC may be interested in trying out this map, and you can find them all on the War Thunder Live website. The only issue is maybe some of them are out of date. I'm not entirely sure if all of them work, but you can at least give them a go, see what it's like, and have a bit of fun in these map positions. And then also with Operation Spring Awakening, of course, there is all the history behind it and everything like that. If you want to have a good read of it, it's right here. But as I said, I'll do another video just looking at Operation Spring Awakening itself, since it is a really interesting time, being the last major German offensive that happened in the Second World War. The next map which is on offer is from J26 Lennox 26, and this is an extended version of Berlin. So he's taking the Berlin map that already exists in game. He notes the fact that it's either, he doesn't know if whether people really enjoy it or don't enjoy it, but for him, he would like to increase the range of the map, so it gives itself a little bit more in terms of gameplay. So the general idea is to break the map into 3 areas, which would all be part of the extended map, and you can see you have the mid, which we already have in the battle. He's also changed where the spawn points are, so instead of north to south, they are going to be east to west, and the idea is to create 3 zones. So you have the light tank area, CQB as he puts it, the mid area, and then the long distances. And for him, when it comes to these areas, you can see here the green area would be for players that dislike close quarter fights. So therefore, close quarters, and will be able to engage in long distance shootings, good for modern MBTs and World War II tanks, and also most heavy SPGs. And then the middle area would be great for slow advancing tanks and medium tanks that want speed without going too far or close distances, so great for slow tanks overall. And then the next part is the close quarter battles would be a good flanking area where fast tanks can meet each other, and where the players would enjoy closer areas, can always relay to. Works wonders for light tanks, mediums, or heavy tanks, depending on what they want to do. So that would be his addition to the Berlin map. Sorry, I have something in my eye and it keeps bothering me. But the fact is, he just wants to extend the Berlin map and add this part of flat, long ground. So is how it is. Then we have Serpico, and Serpico wants to add a pretty cool decal. So one of the, I suppose, little memes that we have in the War Thunder community is the fact that on the forums or on dev blogs or, on any announcement, there used to be, and sometimes still is, a little thing which is basically soon TM, which is, of course, what Gaijin was known for in the past. I'm not sure if they are nowadays, maybe they are, but the idea would just to put a decal in game called soon TM, which would make fun of that fact. And in the past, when it comes to War Thunder, they've done the Free Abrams pack, they've done the Russia Bias pack. Why not have just a soon TM decal? Maybe you could do it as a little stream pack for like $1.30 or something. But yeah, it's basically, the idea is to not really make fun, but just to immortalize parts of the meme culture of War Thunder in the game. The next one is from Zombificus, and what Zombificus wants to do is he wants to add in a bunch of new camouflages for the ROCAF and the PLAAF, basically the Chinese machines that are in game. He says that many of the camouflages are underrepresented when it comes to the game, and he would like to see them in the game. Now, he starts off with a vehicle that doesn't exist in the game, the B-24M, and then slowly there are a few vehicles here that do exist in the game, but my guess is he would want these vehicles added as well, such as the B-24M, which would also have access to, you know, all of the skins available. Now, what he's done is he's basically gone to this website here, which is called Wings Palette, which has a massive list of pretty much every single skin when it comes to airfix or when it comes to models, and it's all collected in one place in this 1990s style website, and he's printed it into the area of the little pasta developers. So if you want to check all of the all of the camos and stuff, you can basically just find them there. Like, they're all basically the same. They're all basically just in that area. They're either based on models, or they're either based on historical camouflages, so you can check them out in those areas. The next one is from Milky, and what Milky wants is a little bit of an improvement when it comes to the camouflages and how they work in the game. So basically, the problem that Milky has, and I'm sure the problem that a lot of other people have, is that there are certain skins which are hard-coded in the game for certain parameters. So if you have that auto-select turned on when it comes to which skin is picked for which map, there are a lot of skins which actually don't help you at all when it comes to those specific maps. So what Milky wants to do is he wants to add in an extra parameter where basically you can pick what skins are on what type of map. So you can see here camouflage for conditions, forest, desert, urban, and then you can tick which ones that you want to use this one on, and therefore it gives you a little bit more choice in the auto selector. You can just manually select your skins as well if you want to do that, but this would just be another automatic parameter that would mean that you wouldn't have to worry a little bit more. You would just be able to pick your preset and then go ahead with it, so you wouldn't have to think about which skin to bring into battle. And that's basically the main thing. It would be very similar to this one, the link camouflage decor layouts, where you can link skins between the or link decorations and decals between the different camouflages. Apart from it would be put into an area where it would just change which skin is picked automatically for which type of map you're on. It's a pretty nice idea, actually. The next one is from Deranger, and what Deranger wants to do when it comes to the game is he wants a addition of player battle rating display in statistics. So the suggestion is to allow the display of each player's maximum BR vehicle in current lineup, number only, not the name, during the statistics screen in each battle. This is the same way in which other players can be viewed in arcade battles, minus the vehicle name. So basically, the reason to do something like this that you can see here is during realistic ground forces, you are able to ascertain if a match is fair. So there are many cases where matches consist of one team without any top BR vehicles. And as an example, a team full of 6.7s and 1.77. However, the enemy team have a mix of 6.7 and 7.7 with 4.77s and a mix of 6.7 and 7.3s. The simple change would allow for transparency within a match, as there can be other reasons which this imbalance might appear to exist due to player choice. So let's say if they brought like 7.7 planes or something. However, at present, this lack of transparency provides no benefit and open skepticism towards the balance of the match, and we are already able to work out the max BR of the match through the spawn points. However, I believe being more open would be appreciated by the player. So the example of it would be basically what you see on the screen right now. So yeah, basically all you would have to do, since it already exists in arcade in the statistics screen during the match, don't see how it would be so hard to introduce when it comes to realistic. So yeah, you basically just take the arcade system where you can hover over a player's name and it tells you their average BR, it tells you their max BR and all of that good stuff, and bring it in to realistic. Pretty much as simple as that. Then the next one is from AceMay, and what AceMay wants to do is allow selection of individual rounds from belts instead of whole belts in the protection analysis system. And basically the way it works right now is you select specific belts of specific vehicles, but the problem with doing that is obviously different belts have different rounds in them. You know, in this example you can see here, you can't test the Hispano Hefi or Hef Sapi, as all the belts containing them also have a round that has more penetration, so therefore it picks that one to actually fire with, so therefore you don't know how much damage they actually do because of the fact that you can't test them in the protection analysis. So instead of doing a default belt, air target belt, ground target belts should do T, P, AP, Hefi, and Hef Sapi. So basically you would pick the individual rounds instead of the ammunition belt. I think this is a very good change from AceMay. The next one is from Super Cacti. And what Super Cacti is talking about today is the automatic gun targeting distance for aircraft gunners. Basically, the convergence of your gunners. And there is definitely an issue when it comes to gunners in War Thunder. Their convergence seems to be set at a given distance and doesn't change. So it's set around 400 to 500 meters. This means that if a plane is not within 400 to 500 meters of you, then your guns will not converge. Uses the BV-238 as an example for this. So unless the plane is right here, then the outer guns on your wings will never hit the plane. Only the centerline guns will hit the plane, which will mean that what you have is you have a lot of firepower from the BV-238, but only half of it is being utilized in order to hit the player coming in. So they just can't hit. It's as simple as that. And this doesn't just work on the horizontal plane, it also works on the vertical plane. So if you have two sets of guns which have different velocities, e.g. the Lancaster, which has a low velocity MG, the 7.7, and a higher velocity MG, the 12.7 on the back, then what you'll have is you'll have a set distance where they will converge, and therefore you can get both shots on target. But apart from that, you will have distances where they don't converge. So therefore, that just means that you only have like half of your firepower half the time to be able to defend yourself. So basically, what Super Cacti wants to do is make it so that when you select an enemy target, your gunners will adjust their convergence distance to match that the distance of the enemy is away from you. So basically a very similar system to how naval arcade aiming works, where it ranges and then it goes in. So that just means that all of your guns will converge on the enemy instead of a given point. So this means that the gunners won't do it themselves. You'll have to select the target you want to shoot at first, and this could be, you know, tied into your gunner crew skills, how quickly they are to range the target. And this will just mean that all of your fire will be concentrated on a specific point and will adjust depending on where the enemy goes. The other thing as well is if you don't have anything selected, the gunners will just fire straight forward, so therefore they'll create just lines to fire ahead. So yeah, it's pretty much as simple as that. And he also talks about all of the bombers that would be affected by this, and also aircraft that could be added which could also benefit from this change. I think it would be a wonderful change to make, so therefore you could actually use all of the firepower from your vehicles. And I also believe it's probably something that a lot of people don't know about, that there is a fixed convergence for a lot of these guns, and that can screw you quite badly. The next one is from Drop Pop War Thunder, and he basically has a simple solution to an age-old problem when it comes to War Thunder. So in War Thunder, sometimes the kill credit system doesn't like working. What I mean by this is you can crit something and then later on it'll die, you don't get a kill, and it's very annoying. And this has been annoying for a lot of players, and also obviously the kill stealing part as well, where what will happen is you crit something, you leave it to die, and then somebody swoops in and gives it a good rat-a-tat and takes it out, giving you an assist and then a kill. So his solution is similar to what happens in Overwatch and Battlefront, where if you get a crit towards an enemy, it counts as a kill. So anybody who gets a crit on that vehicle, they get a kill in War Thunder. So if this was done in War Thunder, you would have a majority of players relieved, because they wouldn't have to worry about having an ally swoop in and kill an enemy that you finally have managed to drop behind of. In this case, however, only critical assists would count as kills. So if you were to shoot a small 3.3 bullets into at a Hangar bomber, and it only did a small amount of damage, it would not count as a kill if an ally swooped in and shot him down afterwards. However, if you set the enemy bomber on fire or critically damaged its wing and an ally shot it down, I would assume that this would count as a critical assist and thus a kill. So basically both people would get a kill. Now, I like this suggestion as long as it doesn't reduce the amount of RP and SL you get from a kill. If it does do that, then we may have a few issues going forward. The next one is Target 1331, and what he wants is the ability to go into the cockpit in the hangar. It's a pretty simple one. Basically, the idea is instead of going into a test flight and going into the hangar, going into a test flight and going into the cockpit, just slipping into the hangar and being able to go into a cockpit view in the hangar, just so you can see all of the instruments, just so you can get familiarized with it, because of course he's started playing simulator, so he wants to be able to get used to it. So yeah, the whole idea would be you just blop into the cockpit so you can get used to it, instead of having to over and over and over again do test flights. So just make it a little bit easier. But yeah, those are the suggestions passed to the developers from the mechanics section in November 2020. A lot of really nice ones here, a lot of ones which I do agree with a lot, and I'm very, very happy to see. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank John Ryman, Universe, Conte Baraka, Elove Goat, Trigger Hippie, Eugens Terry, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Martinez B. Young, and also Hans Fagellen, Sebastian Mizon, and Samuel Schlick for supporting the channel.